Oh, I thought that said 185. It says 18 and a half.
Did you answer the one I asked you yesterday?
One.
The Tyler creator? How do you forget a whole blanket in your trash? Tyler creator? Or on sweatshirt? Oh, just leave the water alone. Okay. That's a question.
No, that's even worse.
How is it worse?
Good.
David, you can answer your story.
How am I indecisive?
That.
That doesn't mean I'm indecisive because I think.
That's exactly what it means. You
Okay,
can't pick.
I know.
it's just, I'm absolutely bumfuzzled by it. Flabbergasted, bumfuzzled, gobsmacked.
I think the best thing I've learned in this class is vocabulary.
I can live with that. I love vocabulary. Hi, folks. Let me get this attendance done. Everybody is here. I am exhausted. David's here. Trinae is here. Aria is here. Marilyn is here. Victoria is here. And Kyla is here. Will you close that door while you're up? Okay. It's weird.
I'm weird.
Okay, so I just told everybody who is here in person that we're not gonna have a very long class today. I just want to share some resources with you and kind of go through them. Our official test prep is kind of over. Not that we won't do any kind of review next week, we will, but you know, our weekly schedule is done now. So Fridays were kind of like whatever I feel like is important to teach you anyway. So I have uploaded 3 things to the Canvas. I'm gonna start calling it the Canvas. I like that better. It's like how my parents always say, let's go to the Walgreens, or like, let's go to the CVS.
Well, my family says, let's go to Bell.
Yeah, it's just one Belk. My sister and I kind of have this like character that we do, whose name is just Chansley's grandmother. We knew this girl named Chansley, which is a crazy name. I'm sorry if you know any Chansleys. Is it? Is it actually? That's so funny. Her name is Chansley Wisnant. She's married to my cousin. And I mean, she's just like a good old country girl. And so we kind of like just made up this character of Chansley's grandmother who goes around saying things like, Chansley, you want to go to the Belks and get a blouse? And things like that. Chansley. Okay. So the first thing that we have here, and I'm probably just going to pull open each one so that it doesn't re-download another version on my laptop, because frankly I don't have the space for it. Prefixes. Well, now where the heck? Common prefixes and suffixes. Whatever, it's fine. Let's wait for this to load. Okay, so the point of this basically is that there might be times on the test or in life when you come across words that you do not know. When I was in middle school and high school, we did this thing called Word Masters. You remember Word Masters? Did you do Word Masters? I was a Word Master, which is probably why I am the way I am today. But I mean, essentially it was like competitive vocabulary tests. But we had some of them that were just like prefixes or suffixes or root words, because if you know a lot of prefixes and suffixes and root words, you can kind of figure out what words are supposed to be, what they're supposed to mean. And some of them, and I'm not going through all of this. This is 8 pages. This is something that if y'all want to look at on your own, I have given you the resource. I'm not quizzing you on any of this stuff. But some of them you'll be familiar with, like un. Un means opposite. If you uncover something, you're doing the opposite of covering it. If you, it makes me think of the show The Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if y'all have seen that, but you should. It's very good. And they call some members of their society the unwomen, because they can't like give birth anymore. So they're just like not anything. Some of re means again or back. So like if you rewrite something, you're going back, you're writing it again. If you return something, you're bringing it back. Dis is a negative, like not, away, apart. It's like if you disagree, you're not agreeing. If you're in discomfort, you're not comfortable. So stuff like that. And I would recommend that you go through and just kind of look at these, because maybe you've never thought of some of these before. I mean, most of these are probably pretty intuitive, but like sub, I mean, you might think of like a submarine, but you might not know that it's called that because it goes under the water, and marine means water. Subtext is like the meaning under the text. I don't know why substitute is that way, but so there's a lot of these. Some of them that you'll be less familiar with, like dia, para. These are all number ones. Huh? No, para.
Oh, I said, oh my God, I hate her.
Like paralegal works beside or alongside a lawyer.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
No worries. And then you have suffixes, which are the things that go at the end of words, the little bits that go at the end of words. And you'll be familiar with some of these, like if you add s or es, you're pluralizing it. If you add ed, you're making it in the past tense. If you're putting fy or ify, you're making it into an adverb. Some of them you might be less familiar with, or just have never thought of, like meant shows the condition of something. So like contentment shows the condition of being content. Resentment shows the condition of resenting something. A lot of these you'll probably at least somewhat know. And this is also like one reason that, or this is one way that vocabulary can get easier for you if you kind of like memorize these, or at least have some kind of cursory knowledge of them. Because if I see something, for instance, if I see a word I don't know, but it ends in IOUS or OUS, I'm like, oh, that's an adjective, gotta be. And then you've got some root words, like aqua is water, and we know that. But if you look at all the words that use aqua, they're all about water. This is one we probably use a lot at Allegro. Aud, it has to do with hearing. Audio, audition, auditorium, where you listen to stuff, a room where you listen to performances. So if I put together a word, from all three, I'm going to try to make a nonsense word that does make sense. But out of these. So I'm going to say, this might be a word, but re-audiate would mean to listen to it back again, to listen to something back again. But if you know those, that's not, I don't know if that's a real word or not, but if you kind of have a knowledge of what these suffixes and prefixes and roots look like and what they mean, you'll be able to put stuff together. And if you see a word that you don't know, you might be able to figure it out. What's the word I looked up yesterday? Meretricious. And I couldn't tell from like the root or anything what that meant, but I could tell from the end of it that it was an adjective. So it was like, who is being described as meretricious? And it turned out that it really worked out. It was a good word to describe them. Okay, so that's the first resource that I have given you. The second thing, and I think I did share this earlier on in the year when we were doing rhetorical analysis, but I want to just revisit it. When we're writing rhetorical analysis essays, most people want to use the word use. Like the author uses repetition, metaphor, and personal experience to have her audience relate to the speech. That was not a beautiful thesis that I just said, but it's okay. But rather than saying use all the time, one thing that will really put your sophistication up a point, and you do get a point for sophistication on these essays, is using verbs that are stronger than just use. And some of them make a lot of sense. Like some of them you could easily see how you might use this, like suggests. The author suggests through her use of blah, blah, and blah that people should pay more attention to the way they treat each other, you know, that kind of thing. She questions, she emphasizes. Emphasize is a good one that would be easy to use. Highlights, easy to use. Compares and contrasts depending on what you actually, you wouldn't be able to use that for every prompt, but if it's asking you to compare and contrast, or if that's something that you notice the author is doing. Exemplifies, postulates, that's a good one. Postulates. Satirizes. The chances that you'll actually be writing a satirical essay are probably pretty small, but I mean, that one that we did was from like 2006 maybe, so they might be due a new one. But it specifically shows verbs to use instead of says, use, shows, or tells. Verbs related to rhetorical modes and structure verbs. And I would also look through these, especially if you're kind of like going through chronologically through a passage, and if you're like, she starts by doing this, and then in the middle she does this, and she closes out by doing this. These verbs are going to be a lot better than whatever normal sounding thing I just said. She opens by, then she shifts to or transitions to, and she concludes by. So just better words, stronger words. The stronger the words are, the more sophisticated your writing's going to sound. And then this is the last thing, and I had a couple of you who asked me for, and maybe I should actually go ahead and put this as a resource too, where you could get some more practice. And there are some practices available on AP Classroom, but I'll also give you a link to the website that I've gotten most of our stuff from, most of our multiple choice practices. And so this is just like some advice. A different teacher, a different AP Lang teacher came up with this. But it's basically to give you practice in reading difficult passages and using this process. And basically you just go through it with these 8 steps. You highlight every other sentence in one color, which you can do on your laptop. Probably not in every format, but you know, we used to do multiple choice just by hand. That helps sharpen your focus and helps you notice sentence length, which can be very important. Make note of punctuation marks, and you can use that to help you with challenging syntax. Box unfamiliar words and then annotate their definitions. And by box, I literally mean draw a box around it. Box any endnotes or footnotes. Sometimes there are questions about those. If the passage you're reading actually contains endnotes or footnotes, there will probably be a question about them. So think about what purpose those serve. Summarize the passage by idea divisions. This is something that I do all the time. If I'm reading content that I'm not super interested in and feel like I'm kind of getting bored with, I'll just like kind of write a main idea out beside each paragraph, because then I'm trying to boil it down in the first place to like, what is the main idea? And then if I need to go back, if there's a question about a particular topic, I'll be like, oh, well, where was the paragraph that talked about this thing? And it's easier to find. Just really like helps organize your brain. So that's a thing I do even now when I'm reading, you know, like nonfiction stuff. Summarize, oh, that's the one I just said. Note syntax patterns and their effects and write those notes in the margin. So any like unusual syntax that you see. What was the one we were just talking about? I don't think it was in this class. Make note of any rhetorical devices the author uses. That's obviously a really important one. Note those in the margin as you see them, but don't just label them. Also note the effect. What's the purpose of them using this? So that you don't have to like, just do it as you're going, so that if you need to kind of go back and think about several things you want to talk about in your essay, you'll already have some material there to work with. And then at the bottom of the passage, compose a sentence which contains the purpose of the piece and the author's attitude, which creates tone. All really good advice. So the last thing that I'm going to give you guys, I have gotten most of our multiple choice practice from this website called crackap.com. And I think it means crack like you're cracking the case, not like AP on crack. But this is where I've gotten most of our multiple choice from. And when I've done this in past years, the general consensus tends to be that this is harder than what's actually on the test. So if you're doing well on these, then maybe that will help ease your mind a little bit. But just to kind of show you this, I'm going to kind of go to a random one here. We maybe even did this one, I don't remember. But you read the passage. I'm just like kind of picking answers. I'm not even looking at them. And I'm not even going to do all of them, but you submit your answers. Look at that, I got all of them wrong. But the cool thing about it is that it's got an explanation for each one. So if you don't understand why the answer was what it was, you can go and look at the explanation and it'll kind of help inform you about that. So this is a really good website, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trash you. They have this for every AP class that there is, which is cool. Excuse me. Crack AP practice choice tests. So now you'll have that link if you guys want to practice any more on your own. Okay, so just kind of looking ahead a little bit at next week. I only found out yesterday that your exam is at noon, which I feel like is so weird. I feel like it's usually first thing in the morning. It's always been at 8. And you got to be here by 11. Yeah. So weird. And Miss Coco told me that some places have it at 4 p.m., which I'm like, first of all, I hope that if that was the case that you'd be excused from school that day. But like, how bad would that be to leave school and go home, or not go home and have to take a 2.5-hour exam? It's miserable. I've never heard of that happening. And I think this is the first year that it is happening, because it's always been same time for everybody across the country, except in Alaska for some reason. I remember that from the test manual. Very weird. I hear that some people really like Alaska. I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, but why is it beautiful?
Oh, why is it beautiful? I really don't know. I don't know. Okay, so Monday, Miss Coco is going to come in here first thing and help you guys do this exam setup. You're getting to see all of my lesson plans right now, but I don't know how long that will take with her. It could take the whole time, could take 5 minutes, but I have a video for us to watch if it does not take the whole time. Tuesday, we're going to do some review games, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this yet. It's so much easier with everybody in person, but it's really easy going. I'm not trying to give y'all a ton of hard work next week. Wednesday, we won't meet because you'll be in the exam. Also noon, that's like halfway through lunch.
I better, before I get to school, I am stopping and buying myself a decent lunch.
Yeah.
I'm not eating.
After a test.
Yeah, 100%. It smelled like mothballs and onions. It's so weird. And then your next section of Beloved, we're not dealing with it until Thursday, so you've got a bit more time. And then we'll have, the rest of this time after the exam is fairly easy going. Like, we do have a couple of projects and stuff, but they, number one, can be fun. we can take plenty of time on them. So it's not going to be too bad after the exam. Any questions about anything? Any of that stuff? We do have to do it because the school paid for you to do it. Take the test. It actually costs kind of a lot to take. Yeah, and not all schools pay for their kids to do it. Like sometimes the kids have to do it. They have to pay for it. That tends to be in like really high achieving schools where like the kids are like, I want to take every AP class I can and you know, get 1 million credits for everything. But yeah, not every school pays for them. Crazy. Yeah, I did take all these standardized tests from College Board, like the GRE to get into grad school, and a couple of teacher tests, like the praxis test, and those all cost a lot. They cost like $150 each.
Why?
To take a test. You got to take it if you want your degree, you know? And I did, so thank God I aced them. Otherwise I would have felt like I was out of $150, maybe even more. Anyway, I'm gonna let you virtual folks go, and I hope y'all have a good weekend. I will see y'all on Monday. What is that?